I guess I clicked away too fast. There we go. That's funny. Good morning, Oblivion. How goes it? Sorry, I was having some technical difficulties this morning, but I've figured it out. I've conquered it. All right. So it wasn't an issue with Portainer, or sorry, not Portainer. It wasn't an issue with my webhook, and it wasn't an issue with any kind of errors. It was just a user error. Cool. Been working on about 5 different projects all at once today. Oh boy. I actually was just about to go to bed. Oh, no worries. Yeah, man, get some sleep. It sounds like you've been all over the place. Hey, what's up, Ilmanian? You made your way over to YouTube. I like it. I like it. Very nice. Very nice. Man, yeah, 5 projects. That's a lot of context switching. That's actually super impressive, is what that is. All right, I gotta figure out what we're supposed to do for Rustlings. Oh, it looks like it's pretty easy to get started. Just a few commands in the terminal, we should be up and running. Like it. Excuse me. CD repositories. CD repositories. Alright, now we're gonna go cargo install Rustlings. I love coffee. I love coffee so much. Yes, we're gonna try Rustlings, Oblivion. We're gonna take a little Friday morning here and just do some learning, you know. I mean, I still want to work on that Notepad app, but I mean, there's only so much time in the day, and so we have to pick and choose what we work on. But today, I feel like doing some learnings. Then we have to do Rustlings init. This command will create the directory Rustlings, which will contain the exercises. Yes, continue. Run cd Rustlings to go into the generated directory, then run Rustlings to get started. Okay, cd Rustlings. I'm gonna have a peek around. I'm gonna peek around in here. I think bro's addicted to coffee. Yes, probably. Bob Knowles, coffee. That's right, coffee. Coffee makes stream go burr. Yo, what is Rustlings? The code guy? What's up, man? Nice profile picture too, by the way. Rustlings is like a well, I'll just read it. It says small exercises to get you used to reading and writing Rust code, recommended in parallel to reading the official Rust book. So it's kind of like a supplementary interactivity to the existing Rust book that we've been making our way through. So we've been using this book, the Rust book. I've been using the one on brown.edu because it has some stuffs in it. But yeah, it's just a learning resource. If you wanna learn Rust, the programming language. Oh goodness, what's happening here? Rustlings. And what else? Rust. That was a big yawn. All right, we're gonna have a little look-see. What's in here? So we've got solutions. We've got exercises. We have some sort of Rust analyzer. Oh, I didn't know that you could configure Rust analyzer. Nice. So we've got some VS Code stuff. And then each exercise looks like each exercise has a README. And then looks like this prints some stuff. That's the intro. Looks like we're supposed to, I think we're supposed to modify this code to fix things as we go. So what we're going to end up doing. Let's see, let's go back to our dashboard. Okay, so then we're supposed to type Rustlings, I think. Rustlings. Is this your first time? Don't worry. Rustling is made for beginners. We are going to teach you a lot of things about Rust, but before we can get started, here are some notes about how Rustlings operates. The central concept behind Rustlings is that you solve exercises. These exercises usually contain some compiler or logic errors which cause the exercise to fail compilation or testing. It's your job to fix all the errors, to find all the errors and fix them. Make sure to have your editor open in the Rustlings directory. Rustlings will show you the path of the current exercise under the progress bar. Open the exercise file in your editor, fix errors, save the file. Rustlings will automatically detect the file change and rerun the exercises. If all errors are fixed, Rustlings will ask you to move on to the next exercise. If you're stuck on an exercise, enter H to show a hint. If an exercise doesn't make sense to you, feel free to open an issue on GitHub. We look at every issue, and sometimes other learners do too, so you can help each other out. Okay. So it's basically like it's almost like that thing from Sentry that we looked at, debug December or whatever. So it's like basically like small little challenges that are supposed to help familiarize you with the Rust language. So I think this will be fun. Yeah, I think this will be good. See, I've got everything set up. Looks like there's just some documentation there. Looks like some other people have added additional exercises. That's kind of nice. And they have a GitHub discussions for Q&A. All right, well, this is going to be our morning chat. This is what we're going to do. So welcome in, welcome in. Hello, Ulas, how are you? What is around? Wow, Rustlings, you say? It is like Go Test, but from terminal. Learn Go. Yeah, exactly. So it seems like that's kind of the jive. So this should be pretty fun. Yo, chat, why is he learning Rust? Sorry, man. I missed all your messages. Hee, meow, meow. Why are you learning Rust? You both look good. Thanks, man. Why are we learning Rust? We're learning Rust because I'm a 32-year-old man with money in my bank account and free will. And I can basically do whatever the hell I want. I mean, it's not more academic than that, man. I mean, it's just I like to learn and I like programming. I like technology, and we can do whatever we want. Rustlings will have hyperlinks to the book and specific pages in the readmes and hints. Definitely read on the hints even after completing. Okay. Thank you. That's good advice. And also, Oblivion, please don't stay up on account of me.
Did we just become best friends?
Hey, thanks for the follow, man. That's super nice of you. We're pretty sparse over there in Twitch land, so thank you very much for following. Good morning, Gun. Thanks for being a member, bro. Appreciate you. Good to see you. Hope you're having a good morning. I'm absolutely butchering this orange that I'm trying to peel right now. I'm gonna make a mess everywhere. Hold on. Crap. Dude, no. I'm getting orange juice like everywhere. Hold on, I gotta get a towel real quick. I do not watch F1. I'm not a big race guy. I grew up watching racing. My dad was real into racing, stock car racing, but not F1. My favorite driver growing up was Dale Earnhardt. That was my dad's favorite driver. I'll fall asleep on the stream. Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Well, settle in and then doze off. Does free will exist? That's a question that's kept philosophers busy for many generations. Alright. First things first. Let's see. This exercise compiles successfully. The remaining exercises contain a compiler or logic error. The central concept behind Rustlings is to fix these errors and solve the exercises. Good luck. You last. It does, but kind of hard to sustain. Oh, you mean free will exists, but it's hard to sustain? Is that what you're saying? I don't know. Free will. I believe in free will myself. I mean, I think the end destination of our lives is predetermined. Like, all of us are gonna die. I don't know if anybody's told you guys, but like the end of this whole thing, it's all already decided. We all die. So I mean, from that perspective, yeah, I guess there is some determinism. But what you do between your birth and your death, I think, is largely up to you. What time is it there? Reps, it is currently 4:41 a.m. All right, next. All right, this is our first exercise. Cannot find macro print line in this scope. Help. A macro with a similar name exists. Okay, similarly named macro print line defined here. Could not compile exercises due to the previous error. So I guess then we should go look at the README. Was it intro 2? Yeah, intro 2. And then let's look at the README for this section. Turn on word wrap. Rust uses the print macro and the print line macros to print text to the console. Further information. Oh no! Is that link really dead? Oh no, it just didn't put the whole thing. Oh, I've already done this section of the book, haven't I? Hello. Let's see, formatted print. Printing is handled by a series of macros defined in standard formats, some of which are format, print, print line, ePrint line, ePrint line. All parse text in the same fashion. As a plus, Rust checks formatting correctness at compile time. Well, isn't that kind? Okay, that's a different thing. So let's see. Why isn't it working? I don't know why it's not working. Print line. Should this be print line? I think so. How do I... Checking the exercise intro to please wait. Yay! Look at that. We did it. They just typed the wrong thing. It's been fixed. Look at us. I'm a real Rust developer now. Put that off to the side. What is Rustlings? Eric, Rustlings is kind of like a... It's like a... What is it, chat? Like a group of exercises that are supposed to familiarize yourself with Rust. I love Rustlings. It's such a great tool. Yes. It seems like a cool thing. I'm glad someone made it. Selfishly, I'm very glad that someone made it. Rustlings is a terminal-based learning tool for Rust. There we go. You last said it better than I could. Good morning, Danny. Do you watch any kind of sports? Oh, for sure, man. Yeah, sports is a big part of my life. My favorite sports to watch are football and baseball. I'll occasionally turn on the NBA during this time of year when football kind of slows down and baseball hasn't started up again. I like UFC. I like watching the fights. What else? Yeah, that probably sums it all up. Football is it's kind of like, it's like God, family, football in a lot of ways. Like God, family, football, lifting weights, programming. Those are kind of like my favorite things in life. Bro, have you compiled the Rust book so that you can reach it locally? May that's why there was an error. I have not compiled the Rust book locally. I think there was an error. I think the reason there was an error was because whenever I clicked that link in NeoVim, because the text was wrapped, it didn't put the full link into my browser. Oh, I see. Yep, Eric. Well, Eric, hang out with us, and you'll get to see more Rustlings. World Cup is coming. You ready? Yeah, the World Cup is coming. I kind of wonder how that's going to play out with all the things that the United States is doing. I'm kind of wondering how the whole World Cup is going to shake out. If people are going to use that as an opportunity to sort of like protest some of the United States' actions by just like not coming. But I'm excited. The World Cup's always an exciting time of year. What do you enjoy the most about live streams? I think the thing that I've enjoyed the most about live streams has been chat. Very selfishly, getting to chat with other people who are kind of interested in the same stuff has led to me finding out and learning things that I don't think I would have otherwise found out about or learned about, or if I had, it might have been many weeks or many months down the road, you know? The second thing I've liked about learning is the consistency of it. Like, it's created some structure and some consistency to learning, or basically, it's given me a concrete excuse to have 2.5 or 3 hours every morning to just focus on programming and coding or doing something with technology that I enjoy, which has been really nice. What about chess? I know how to play chess, but I rarely ever play chess. Football as in real football? Oh, nice. What are your favorite teams? Football as in American football. Sorry, I always forget that. For other people, football is not what it is to me. I'm talking about football in the sense of American football. Danny, I hope it goes well. I think it will. Yeah, I think it will. Hello, Ali the AI. Good to see you. Thanks for being a member. Real football, nice one. Yeah, I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you say, how do you guys differentiate between soccer and football outside the United States? Because in the United States, it's very much like football is the thing with helmets and pads, and soccer is the thing where you kick the ball. So like it's but I'm curious how you guys talk about things outside the U.S. Let's play Go. Let's play what? Crow engineer. They just called American football, I think. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Say American football. Yeah, that's what I meant. When I said like American football is like one of my favorite things, that's what I meant. Nobody says soccer. Just us dumb Americans. Okay. Well, now I know. And I'll try to do better about remembering that. It's just, it's my very American egocentric view of the world. And Canadians. All right, this says cannot find value X in this scope. You might have meant to introduce a new binding. Cannot find the value X in the scope. Print line X has the value X. I think these first exercises are going to be pretty straightforward. So we're just missing the let keyword here. Cool. Type annotations needed. If X equals 10, type must be known at this point. Note, cannot satisfy partial equals of I32. Note, integer implements partial equals type, I guess, a discard. Consider giving X an explicit type. Consider swapping the equality. For more information about this error, try Rusty explain. So basically the complaint here is it can't figure out what X is, and because X hasn't been initialized anything. I think what that means is you could actually fix this in one of two ways, right? You could either do this, right? Or you could add an explicit type, because the explicit type has a default value, right? Let's see. X used here, but it is initialized. Okay, so it's still not initialized. Consider assigning a value. For more information, okay, so you do have to assign something. So what happens if I swap these? 10 equals X. I wonder why it made that suggestion. So before I fixed it, or before I did anything, I think it made a suggestion about swapping. Yeah, why is it saying this? Is this just like a rustium? Is like typically you put, because to me this seems backwards. Oops. Let me do that. We've already read that chapter. We've already read it. I'm not going to reread it. Alright, so let's just remove that. We'll set this to I32 and we'll initialize it to 10. Now everybody's happy. Now we do 3. That swap suggestion is weird. Yeah, I feel like it's a weird suggestion myself, but I know in some languages, right, that's kind of the practice is like you don't check if something's equal to nil, you check if nil is equal to the thing. So maybe it's one of those preference type things. Someone suggested football should be renamed to American Gridiron, which I think is pretty sick. Yeah, I would totally be fine with referring to it as Gridiron. Reps, do you think learning code in 2026 with AI is good or bad? Like, to be honest, I always ask AI about the problems. Let's see. My opinion on this is that learning to code is always a worthwhile activity. I think there is intrinsic value to the process of learning to code, meaning I think that I think that the act of learning to code is equally as important as getting to learning to code. Just the same way that I think the process of getting in shape is equally as important as being in shape, right? And I think right now there's a big push in the AI sphere to basically say all of the stuff between the start and the end, all of the stuff in the middle is pointless and useless, and the only thing you should care about is how quick you can get from A to B. And AI is great because it enables you to move at hyperspeed. And I just wholly disagree with that. I think that there is value into hard things being hard, and the effect that it has on you as an individual is a worthwhile endeavor. Ulas Go is an Asian board game, kind of like chess, but a lot more complicated and have a philosophy. Ah, okay, I know what you're talking about then. Now, I was just confused by the statement in the context of whatever I was thinking at the moment. But I know what Go is. I've never played it before, so I don't even know how to play it, but I know what it is. Good morning, Born to Shine. Thanks for being a member. Good to see you, man. Allie, yeah, let's get these likes up. Y'all better be double tapping the screen like your life depends on it. We're crushing the algorithm. Yeah, throw a like if you feel like it. Ilmani, I've been watching Steven for 15 days straight, going strong. Yeah, I think I'm on my 100 and I think I'm almost to like 120 days straight of streaming. Good morning, Duck Boy. How are you? Eric, am confused and stuck at learning to code or not. I would still try to learn, man. I still think the best place to start is free Codecamp if you're trying to learn to code for the first time. Either that or maybe Python for Everybody by Dr. Chuck. But yeah, I wouldn't give up. I wouldn't give up, man. If you still want to do it. Allie, the AI, too many mistakes if you just use AI. You need to know what you're doing. I think you do. And I'll tell you from firsthand experience, the more you rely on AI, the more dependent you are on AI. Once you take AI away, you all of a sudden realize, holy shit, why does everything feel so hard now? And it feels hard because you weren't actually doing anything. You think you were doing something, but you weren't doing anything. You were just relying on the AI. Yeah, Danny, no worries, man. You can come and go as many times as you like during the stream. Reps, have you had your breakfast yet? I usually don't eat breakfast until after stream. So I usually wake up, I get some coffee. I usually will eat an orange, like just because I don't know, oranges are good. They taste good. And then I'll do the stream and I'll drink coffee and just wait till later. See you, Ilmanian. Thanks for hanging out, man. Appreciate you putting some activity on the stream over on Twitch, man. Thank you. All right, let's read these errors. Use binding X isn't initialized. Let's see. X used here, but it isn't initialized. Note this error originates in the macro create framework args NL, which comes from the expansion of the macro print line. Consider assigning a value. For more information about this error, so it's interesting. The compiler almost 9 times out of 10 tells you exactly what to do, which is pretty cool. It's like, dude, just do this and it'll fix it. Nice. I'm kind of interested to get to the ownership exercises. Cannot assign twice to immutable variable. Okay, we know what to do here too. This is going to be let it be mutable. Don't change this line. I'm going to remove the comment. Mismatch types. Don't change this line. Expected due to this value. Number equals 3. We expected a string slice. Could found integer. Cannot add integer to. I think that's what they call this, right? This is called a string slice. What is this called in Rust? String slice, yeah. I just wanted to make sure I was calling it the right thing. There's nothing worse than using a word and you think you know what that word is, and then you find out that those words or that word doesn't mean what you think it means, but nobody corrected you. So you just spend your life looking like a dummy, or you spend your life looking ignorant. All right, so we just have to we just have to make these types line up. That's what we need to do here. So it doesn't want me to change that line. Fix the compiler error to change the line below, but without renaming the variable. So it doesn't want me to rename the variable, but it does want me to without renaming the variable. So I think I can shadow this, right? So I can just do that. Yeah, I can just shadow. Which I don't know if that's how they wanted me to fix it, but I think it will fix it. Help provide a type for the constant. Yes, constants always need types. We learned that ourselves the hard way when we were building Zoe. So we'll do I32. That's the default. Born to Shine. AI looks good and impressive when working on simple projects. When you try to take things deeper, Eric, my problem is converting my solution to code, and that just takes practice, Eric. You know, I mean, it just takes a lot of reps, man. I mean, if you're good at coming up with solutions, like it just takes time to like learn a language, learn all the different APIs. Like it's just time in the saddle. Crow engineer. I like to code, then compare against what AI would make, see how it'd refactor my current code, then with a fresh context, ask it how it'd tackle a project to see if it has any different ideas than me. I think that's a great use of AI. I'm at a place now after spending the last 3+ years using AI very heavily in a lot of different workflows. I've kind of been slowly trimming away my usage of AI, and as I trim away the usage, more and more is revealed to me that like, wow, there was a lot of thinking and planning and struggle that I was offloading to AI, but that I was wholly unaware of and wouldn't have told you was happening. I would have told you like, oh no, I'm still solving all the problems. I'm still doing all the thinking, but I'm now fighting this habit of like when I encounter some friction where I want to just ask Copilot. I just want to ask Gemini. And that's the thing that scares me is that I'm becoming I'm becoming a shell. I'm becoming a shell for the AI, right? Where I just, well, what do you think? Well, what's your thoughts, right? It's like, and that's the part that I really don't like. I love the productivity gains, right? I mean, I want anyone to think that I don't love the productivity gains because I absolutely do. It's amazing how quickly you can move when you're using artificial intelligence to help you. But I think at this point where I'm at personally is I just don't like the trade-off that, or the side effect that's happening when I use it a ton. Eric, how about forgetting concepts and syntax I learned a few days ago? How did you deal with that? I don't know. I guess I don't typically forget things I use every day. But if I don't use like what's a good example? Like the reflection APIs are an interesting example in C sharp. I write C sharp all the time, but I don't typically use a lot of like the more nitty gritty innards of the reflection namespace in C sharp. So I almost always have to look those up. I just think there's some things that are just kind of like that. If you're not heavily using something every day, the chances of you being able to recall it really quickly, it's just that's that's just not how I think the human brain works. There's just too much information to cram it all into your head and hold it all there permanently. Light aura, hello. I'm in that case right now. I doomed myself, man. The regret. Yeah, yeah. I think we're all gonna look back and probably I don't know, anywhere between 3 to 10 years. I think at some point we're all gonna come up from this AI haze, and we're all gonna realize, oh shit, this was kind of like this was kind of like a AI was sort of like a mass distortion field to our own learnings and our own abilities. It's like we feel wicked productive and we feel wicked powerful when we're using it, but then we don't realize how much we were becoming dependent and relying on it. And you can't know until you set it down, right? Like try to go back to how you did things pre chat GPT, and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, why does all this feel so hard? Well, it feels hard because you haven't been doing it for the last 2 years. You just been asking Copilot or waiting for Copilot to come up with a solution. Even Linus Torvalds started using AI now. Again, like I hope the community here is able to have a subtle conversation about this, because it is a very subtle conversation. AI is not bad, and I'm not saying AI is not useful, I, because it is, and I'm not saying I never use it. What I'm trying to get across is I think you have to work really really hard at being intentional about how you use it and the space it takes up. And then you also need to always be aware that there is some side effect that it's having on you. Like, you may not think it is, but it is. It's super hard not to use it. It's like an addiction. I tried to learn Rust, but man, I ask him about everything. Go search for this, how to do this. Yeah, yeah. It becomes this massive. It does. I'm having the same exact experience over the last week and a half because I've turned it off in all my editors. I pretty much have limited my use to only chatting with it on the web interfaces, like the Gemini chat app or the Copilot chat app. Um, and I pretty much relegated it to just using it like if it was a pair programming colleague. That's basically how I've started using it essentially. And you're like, oh wow, why does all this feel hard? And I don't want hard things to feel hard. I want hard things to eventually feel easy, and I want them to remain feeling easy. And if that means that I have to take a hit in my productivity, that's okay. I don't. The thing is, like, I feel like there's this big pressure in the software world right now that like you're gonna get left behind. Everyone's gonna be the 10x developer, and you're gonna be a 1x because you don't use 10 instances of Claude code running in your terminal. And the thing is like I I don't know why I care about that. I don't get it. Like, until my boss comes to me and says, "Hey Steven, your productivity is too low." I don't have any reason to try to play catch up or keep up with Boris Cherny over at Anthropic. I'm running my own race, man. The first programming language I used was Logo, and the only thing I remember is Arc 40, but that's before all of you were born. I've never heard of Logo. Danny, I don't think we need to memorize syntax. We can look it up if need. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there are things that you're just gonna have as like muscle memory, right? Because you use them so much. But yeah, you don't need to memorize every piece of a programming language. I try to do the same problem. Is that once I get a little stuck, I tell Claude write it for me. It's too easy, man. It's too easy, and humans will always pick The path of least convenience, right? Yeah, 100%. Hey, Steven, I submitted my application to your Discord server. How do I get accepted? Oh, I just need to go in there and accept it. I don't have any sort of notification. I just periodically check if there's anybody waiting to get in. So I'll just pop in here right now and let's see. I think you're approved. I don't have anything waiting, so I must have already approved you. Yeah. There's nobody waiting. So you should be good. I love Lamp. Yeah, no, I'm going. He's probably never going to see my messages. Oh, sorry, I love Lamp. I'm sorry I missed your messages. Well, it's because you don't have that member tag next to your name anymore. I love Lamp. I'm just kidding with you, dude. I'm just giving you shit. Uh, yeah, you will see. Yeah, I'm just sorry. I fall behind sometimes. For the syntax, I think we need to learn the AI will output a lot of code. You need to understand it quick to identify issues. If you don't know the syntax, it's like a full vibe coder. Yes. But like the
Did
whole
we just
vibe
become best friends?
Cyber Tiger, thanks for first of all, great username. Second off, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Twitch is slowly growing over there, so I appreciate every new follower. Gee man, what am I looking at? This is something called Rust. Or sorry, Rust is the programming languages. This is Rustlings, which is a terminal-based set of learning exercises for learning the Rust programming languages. Rep KS. Wait, I don't see it. What? Maybe try to hit the link again. I don't see your application, so I must have approved it at some point because it's not sitting in the pending. Let's see. Just maybe try to go to the invite link again and see if it doesn't. Why does that keep happening? There you go. Just hit that link again. What is special about Rust and why is it called that? I don't know why Rust is called Rust. I don't know if there's anything particularly special about Rust. I guess the most unique thing about the programming language is that it is memory safe, but it's memory safe in an interesting, different way than other programming languages. It uses something called ownership, and then it has something that enforces that ownership called a borrow checker. But yeah, I don't know why it's called Rust though. Danny, because it's Rust, baby. Can I learn programming even if I'm dumb as fuck? Well, one, I don't believe most people are dumb. I don't think you're dumb as fuck. I don't think you're giving you enough credit. You can most definitely learn programming. If I can learn how to program, anybody can learn how to program. I'm telling you. If I can do it, you can do it. I love Lamp. He said, "What is code, by the way?" Oh, I thought he said. Oh, okay, yeah. What is code? Code is just the instructions that you put in a file that a computer executes, so that you can tell the computer what to do. That's what code is. I just about pulled my headphones out of the. Why isn't my terminal responding? There we go. Cannot find function call me in this scope. Call me, don't change this line. Not found in this scope. I think I know what that means. Add some function with the name call me without arguments or return value. So we basically need to say function. Oh, see, look, there's Copilot. Call me, and we're gonna say print line, and we're gonna say good morning chat. Let's get rusty with it. There we go. On to the next one. G-Man, tell me which language to start with. G-Man, I always tell everybody to start with Free Code Camp. So that's JavaScript. Free Code Camp will walk you through basically the fundamentals of web development. I think they probably have the best free curriculum. At G-Man, let's see, Free Code Camp. Yeah, I think they have the best free curriculum at the moment. Repcast, why don't you use Linux? Just because I use Windows. Yeah, I mean that question I get asked that question quite a bit, and I always wonder like why don't people ask why don't you use Windows? You know, like it's just a preference thing, right? I mean, at the end of the day, in 2026, you can use whatever operating system you want. Try Python. I'm not a. We all know how I feel about Python, Danny. You have a beautiful voice, by the way, Loki. Are you serious? Did you really just say I've never in my life has anyone ever said I have a nice voice. You're the first person that's ever said that. So I appreciate that. That was actually one of the main reasons I started making content was because growing up, people used to always say that my voice was kind of annoying, that like it was super nasally and not very pleasing to listen to. And when I was about 18 years old, I had just started personal training people, and I realized I was pretty self-conscious about talking to folks quite a bit. But as a personal trainer, you have to hold a conversation basically 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day. Every session is basically just a conversation intermixed with breaks for sets. And so I started making content just so that I would be forced to like hear myself speak and sort of almost like um, what's the word? Almost like exposure therapy. Like I basically wanted to hear my voice so much that I would just get over it. I would get over that self-consciousness. And it worked. I mean, that's literally, I would just film videos of myself and then edit the videos, which would make me have to sit there and listen to myself. And it worked. But you're the first person that's ever said something nice about my voice. Papu Lapu? Yo, you didn't welcome me? Oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't even see you show up in the chat. So good morning. Good to see you. 90% of programmers are overrated about being smart. Actually, not. We use other people's work to do smart. The smart ones are the ones creating stuff from scratch. Yeah, not gonna lie, I kind of feel the same way. I feel like I'm really good at taking existing bits of functionality and combining them in ways to solve a specific problem. I think I'm much better at that than like coming up with frameworks and like libraries and that sort of thing. I hope it's not a troll answer and you gave me the hardest one. I did not give you the hardest, or sorry, that you're talking to Danny, my bad. No, Python is by far the simplest language for beginners, but just so you know, it's just my opinion. Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, I'm fine with people if they want to learn Python first as a programming language. I just always recommend JavaScript because I feel like JavaScript gives you the quickest path to building whatever kind of software you want to build, right? Because you immediately get access to building things for the web, and which means you can immediately deploy things without having to get approval or go through the app store or anything like that. And then you can also use JavaScript to build like any type of software, essentially, which is, I think, nice. I agree. Your voice is nice. It's good for streaming. Well, this is the first time anybody's ever said that. No, I like it. Your voice is like an anxiety reducer. Well, that's very nice, man. Thank you. iSpooky. Hello, iSpooky. How are you doing? Morning. Bob, no, man. Iranian currency is worth nearly nothing. Hope Arvin is okay. Hey, Bob, I've had the same thoughts all week. And I wish well, the thing is, I thought about trying to get in touch with him through Discord, but the thing is that their internet's cut off, so you can't even really. I mean, we're really just gonna have to wait and hope that he shows back up. But yeah, it's really a scary situation. I feel for him. If you ever go work for a very large team, they're going to test your skills without AI. Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And actually, what's interesting is I don't think anybody on the team that I work on from an engineering group is using AI at work, which is, I know that's kind of a crazy thing to say, but we have a team of 5 developers. Yeah, 5 developers, and I don't think any of them actively use Copilot in their day-to-day work. I mean, they know of Copilot, they know of Gemini, right? And these are approved tools where I work, but I don't think any of them use them every day. And if I had to guess, that's probably not super rare, but it's super rare in the technosphere, right? Because everyone's pushing AI down your throats online. Is HTML programming? That's hotly debated, G-Man. I would say, yeah. I mean, you're learning how to put a language together in a very specific way to render something out to the page. It doesn't quite have a lot of the logic that you would get when you start getting into things like Python or JavaScript. But I think it's definitely a fun place for people to start. You can start putting things on a page and see them show up in your browser. And I don't if that can be the entry point for someone into programming. I don't see why not. I think the first language has to be C. You need to understand how computers work. With JavaScript and Python, the abstractions are super high, and going into other languages isn't easy if you start with them. Huh. I haven't had that experience, like, or I haven't written a single line of C in my entire life. So I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree, but I mean, everyone is entitled to have their opinion about what the best first language is. This live proves that Rust is the most contagious language ever. Yeah, it does seem to get around, doesn't it? Reps, I just want to ask, I know your preference is Windows, but do you like any of the Linux distros? Like, what you find it look good? Oh, I think the Linux distros look awesome, especially some of the stuff that people are doing with the thing DHH put together, Omarchi. I think the aesthetics there are top notch. And I think at some point there will be a Linux desktop ARC in my future. I just don't know when. I told chat that it's whenever I get a new computer, so maybe that's when it'll happen. Ali they cut off the internet because someone was created Wingates last time. The Iranian government tried blocking the internet. I won't say who did it. I think the Iranian government cut off the internet because they're trying to control the narrative and suppress the protests. I think is what the cutting the internet off is about. Did even CSS got logic currently? It does. There's now an if statement in CSS, and it's pretty widely supported. I think maybe Safari is the only one that doesn't have complete support for it. Gee, man, should I start with it then? I think you should start with JavaScript myself. Cyber Tiger, hey there. I was just lurking in here for a bit, and it's pretty chill here. What are you programming? May I kindly request a short introduction? Thank you. P.S. Your voice is actually nice. I agree with the people here. Oh, that's super kind, man. Yeah, you guys are saying some of the nicest things that I've ever had said to me. Let's see. So you're welcome to lurk all you want. We actually have a command for that. If you type !lurk, you're more than welcome to. We encourage the lurking. We encourage it. As far as a short introduction, I am a 32-year-old dad of 2. I live in Kansas City, Kansas. My day job is I work as a quality engineer, so I do automated and manual testing for a SaaS platform that serves the GRC marketplace, and GRC stands for governance, risk, and compliance. So basically, think auditing, SOC 2 compliance, GDPR compliance, anything like that. Anything that you have to prove that you're doing what the government has asked you to do. Like, that's the kind of software, that's kind of SaaS platform. It's basically like a no-code platform. If you think of like Salesforce or ServiceNow, it's very similar in a lot of ways to those tools. My YouTube channel and my Twitch channel are mostly about me creating content around programming and coding, or whatever else I'm interested in. My YouTube channel at least has gone through some arcs. I made fitness content for a while. I made vlogs for a while. I've been making programming and coding content now for a while. In another year, it might be something completely different. It's just kind of whatever I'm into and learning about at that particular time. G-Man, what does your shirt say? My shirt says, "They just folk." That's what my shirt says. It's a quote from President Barack Obama from an interview he was in that I really liked, so I stuck it on a t-shirt. Start with Python or JavaScript if you don't have a goal. If you do, then search languages that are used for that. I like that recommendation, Minecraft idea. It's a good recommendation. Also, I realize we're chatting, so I can probably put this up. I think Free Code Camp starts with HTML, so give it a try. It does start with HTML. Teach your kids to write batch files, then some HTML, and set up an Apache server. I think that's a good idea. I think that the feedback loop is really important. Like being able to learn a programming language and then use the programming language to build something that you can then show to other people or interact with yourself. That loop, I think, is really important for getting somebody hooked on the experience of programming, and then that will keep them interested long enough to get good at it, which then itself will be a reinforcing loop, right? But I think if you just stick somebody in a chair and say learn C and manual memory management, it might be that you lose them before they actually fall in love with it and can get good at it, right? I think that's why even like CS50 doesn't start with C. CS50 starts with Scratch, which is a visual programming language, and then they move to C. And I think there's a reason for that, you know. Yes, they did, and someone created Wingates to give them access at the university on Tehran. I don't know what Wingates is. What's Wingates? User best voice ever. Thank you very much. You're gonna make me blush. now I'm self-conscious that people like my voice. Aerobic sassy. Yes, it is a sassy platform. Danny, today is all about your voice. Even I know it is. Yeah. Good morning, crew. I liked and subbed. Well, that is very kind, man. I appreciate you liking and subbing. Reps, what is your bedtime? Like, how can you wake up this early? I try to get to bed. It always depends, honestly. So the biggest determinant of when I go to bed is whether or not I get nerd sniped after my kids go to bed. Which is what I mean is like my kids go to bed at 8. So if I don't open my laptop or if I don't have an idea and get on my computer and start doing stuff, then I'll usually fall asleep sometime between 8 and 10, which makes getting up early the next morning very easy to do. If at 8 o'clock, when my kids go to bed, I get on my laptop and I start tinkering with stuff, then all bets are off. I might be on my laptop till 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and then getting up the next morning is very, very difficult. So I try to do my best to kind of like, after about 8 p.m., no more computer. Size sheriff, yeah, that's so important. I don't remember what we were talking. Oh, we were talking about learning to code. Yeah, it is really important. Yeah, getting somebody interested in coding is equally as important as what should be the first thing they learn. Wingates are a remote machine that you just type an address into a browser. It allows you to access the internet. Oh, that's pretty cool. If someone blocks websites, you can access them through Wingate. Oh, that's very cool. I had no idea. What a cool technology. Sleep at a weekend feels like a Big Mac. 2 a.m. and you get up at 4 a.m. That has only happened, I think, once in the last 2 or 3 months. But for the most part, I try to stop myself from doing stuff like that because I know how important sleep is to me and my health. And so that's why I have kind of gotten into the habit of like, okay, set the laptop down, leave it in the basement, don't pick it up, because there are more things that I want to build and more things I want to learn than there are hours in the day to do it all. So I know if I pick it up, I'm gonna find something to do and something that's gonna preoccupy me, and I tend to fixate on stuff until I figure it out. So that's why I kind of have to just like ignore that urge. Yes, Reba, what do you think about starting with the C# programming language, then moving into backend development, and later learning how to use and integrate AI tools as part of the learning path? I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Reba. You know how I feel about C#. I love C#. I think C# could be a good first programming language. I think the important thing is when you're first picking up programming, if there isn't a tight feedback loop, meaning I make a change, I see the change, or I can build something that other people can use, or I can build something that I can use. I think it's very easy to find programming and coding boring because you feel like, well, what's the point? I'm just typing text into a file, right? And so if you're going to learn C sharp, I think that's fine. I would try to learn C sharp in an interactive way. Maybe build, I don't know, some sort of CLI tool that has user input and has output from it, or maybe look at something like building a TUI with something like Spectre console. I don't know. I think it just, you need to make sure that you learn it in a way where you get feedback and you can see your progress and you can get hooked on that loop of like, make a change, something gets better, or I can see myself getting better, so that then you stick with it. Because it's really, you're not going to learn a programming language overnight. It's going to take you time, right? And so it's going to require daily habitual practice, just like getting in shape requires. Which is why I always say, like, in terms of fitness, the program you do is better than the best program. And I think the same thing goes with a programming language, right? The best programming language is not as good as the one you'll actually stick with and learn. Do you think learning programming just enough for some simple project can be a good entry point for eventually getting into the industry? Yeah, I mean, every programmer that's ever been a professional programmer, right? They started simple. Like, nobody showed up to this thing and started building, you know, 3D graphics engines. Everyone had to start with the Hello World program at some point in their career. So is coding just you talking to a machine? If so, wouldn't it be possible to hypothetically create natural language programming? I mean, I think that's arguably what people are saying we've done with vibe coding, right? That's essentially what people are doing. And there's people now that are using their mics they're basically doing speech to text and then using that for their prompts. So you're getting closer and closer, I think. Reps, this is actually my first time that I followed somebody live stream like this, man. It is really fun to talk to you. It is a good chance for me to learn more English about technology. Of course, yeah, you're welcome to. We're here every morning, 4:15 to 7 a.m. So you're welcome to hang out anytime. Man, I hope you'll be all right today, considering you have to be up soon. Oh no, I'm up for the day. Yeah, I'm up for the day. I usually start streaming at 4:15, and I went to bed last night at like 9 o'clock, so I'm good. Hey Mark, what's up, man? Good morning. Hello world. Yeah, we've all written it, man. Hello world. It's the classic. Everyone's done it. Sci Sheriff, there's actually an esoteric programming language called English. Yes, and we're all discovering that it is a terrible programming language. And it's funny because in the vibe coding world, everyone is using English to program with, but we're all finding out that we need to invent basically versions of English so that we can better instruct the LLM. Because English is too unconstrained and too non-specific. So now we're trying to find ways to organize the English programming language in a very specific way to get the right tokens out of the LLM. It's very funny to watch. Everyone has their, this is how you should structure a prompt to get X result. This is how you should provide context. It's all very, as the Primogen says, it's all very shamanism. What's your favorite animal? Probably a dog. I also like gorillas. This is my favorite animal to go see at the zoo, are gorillas. No, it is 5 in the morning for me. I can't wake up that early like you. It's 5:32 a.m. now for me. English is very illogical. English is one of the most haphazard, non-specific human languages. Yeah, there's a lot. Exception is English is the language where we built all the rules around the exceptions, or at least that's how it feels. Laugh my ass off. No, I'm serious. Look it up. It's an actual SO lang. Oh, I had no idea. I thought you were just making a joke. That's funny. All right, we'll do a few more exercises, then we'll go make some coffee. Let's see. Expected type cannot find value num in the scope. Could not compile exercises. Okay, so we just need to type our num. What did you just say, Steven? I said we need to type our num, bruh. We need to type our num. Steven, what are you doing in the basement? I'm typing my num. This function takes one argument, but 0 arguments were supplied. Okay. Function defined here. Okay. Okay. I know what to do. We're going to give it a 1. Could not compile exercises. Bin functions due to one previous error. Expected type. Oh, it wants a return type. So we need to provide a return type. Fix the function signature. So this is going to return I64. Expected I32, but found. What do we call this? This is called the unit. Something unit. What is this called in Rust? What is this called in Rust? The unit, yeah, the unit type. Okay, so the reason this is happening is because this, if you put a semicolon like this, then you remove the implicit return. So you have to fix this in one of 2 ways. You can either say return like this, I think, or you can use an explicit return and just remove the semi, which it seems like this is more of the Rust idiomatic ways to do returns, is to have an implicit return. I think I kind of like explicit returns myself, but I'm happy to adapt to the language. Consider returning one of these bindings. Okay. Complete this function to return the bigger number. If both numbers are equal, any of them can be returned. Do not use another function call or additional variables. Optionally, you can experiment here. I don't want to experiment there. I want to just do if A is greater than B, we will return A, else B. Nice. Let's do print line bigger 10, 20. Sorry, I saw chat started moving again. My bad. You use Zim browser as well? I do use Zim browser. I switched over to that recently from Edge just because I kind of like the aesthetics of it a little better. I think Edge is arguably still a better browser, but Zin has, I think, nice aesthetics for streaming. We are doing Rustlings, Sai Sheriff. We are doing Rustlings, indeed. Now I feel bad for distracting you from your exercises. Oh no, you're not distracting me. I mean, the thing is about streaming. Streaming should be mostly more about the interaction and the entertainment value than it should be about me being productive. Because if I really wanted to be productive, I shouldn't probably be streaming, you know? See, how do you really prompt for better search stats data results when programming? Most time consuming is looking up the docs. Yeah, 100%. I think that's one of the baller use cases for AI is explaining stuff to you or helping you understand a code base or directing you to the piece of code that you're interested in looking at. Or to your point, just getting to the answer faster than searching through a bunch of blue links. So I think there's a lot of value there. As far as like how do I prompt? Um, I don't know. I think what I do a lot of times is I try to make sure that the LLM has all the context it needs to answer my questions. So a lot of the times I will provide like text files and markdown files in my prompt, and then I'll ask the LLM to like base its answers on that information. Because to your point, I don't really want to have to search through the document to find the one paragraph that I'm interested in. Um, but I know what I'm looking for, and so the AI can very quickly summarize and figure out how to respond to me based on the documentation I give it. I guess that's one thing I do to try to get better results. Like when I've been building, I guess this is a good example of it, is when I've been building that desktop application, since I'm pretty new to using that library iced.rust, they have a GitHub and I have a Copilot subscription. So one thing I've been doing is I've been starting a chat with Copilot when I start to work on this. And basically now Copilot has all of that repository source code, or it can get all that repository source code as context when it answers my questions. And there's not great documentation for this library currently, which is an intentional thing that the library author has done. So this is a great example where like here I can instruct Copilot like please be my SME on this library. Ground all your answers in the source code from the repository or something like that. That's one thing I feel like gives me much better results when I'm using AI for that purpose. Again, this is all very shamanism stuff though, you know? Like there's not really good scientific evidence that like these practices actually make an improvement. It's all based on vibes, which take it for what it's worth. There's a feature in popular chatbots called Deep Search or something like that. It might help you. Yeah, I think Deep Search is pretty good. I think in Gemini they call it Deep Research, which is more like where you want to kick off a long running task and have it produce like a report on something. And Gemini also has access to the internet, so it can perform Google searches. And just recently, Gemini started rolling out the ability to connect it to your YouTube, your Gmail, your Google Drive. Like you can give it context from all over your Google ecosystem if you like to. Zen browser, yeah, Zen browser is like it's like a Firefox fork, I think, if I remember right. Somebody in chat recommended it to me. When I'm in college, there is that time where I probably visit most of the sites for up to 2 pages. I was like, I went to college, but dropped out after 6 months. I learned some Python myself. In 6 months of C in college, I studied in Korea though, so C was rough. Yeah, C. I mean, I don't know if I'll ever learn C. Maybe I will, but at this point, I don't really have a big interest in it. I think I got just somewhat close to OOP, honestly. Nothing wrong with object-oriented code. Mark, because of you, I was able to understand the potential of GitHub Copilot. It
Did
was
we just
great.
become best friends?
Hey, Hellboy, thank you for the follow. Oh, you're Hellboy Junior. Nice. I wonder what Hellboy Senior is like. I'll wait till Feb 14th for new tokens. Yeah, you can burn through your requests pretty fast. I try to use Claude Haiku 4.5 whenever I'm using Copilot because that's like it only uses. I think it only uses a third of a premium request at a time. So I try to use the model that maximizes my usage. Ryan, Gemini still can't tell you how many R's are in strawberry. That's pretty sad if that is the case. I haven't actually tried that. I will look at it in the Zen browser. Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's a pretty nice browser, I think. Like I said, I don't think it's as nice as Edge. I still use Edge for most of my day-to-day work stuff, but for streaming, I like Zen. My favorite thing about the Zen browser is the fact that it like has no like when I put it on screen, I like the fact that you really can't tell that there's a browser there because the left sidebar and the top bar will collapse. So I kind of like that it's very minimal in the aesthetics category, which I don't think that's probably a great reason to like a browser, but it is what it is, you know? All right, more exercises. Argument must be a string literal. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Stir convert dot atoi. Oh, whoops, it's itoa. Itoa. Did I make that up? I thought that was an actual namespace. Stir convert. Whoops, sorry. I realize I'm stuck on the chatting screen. Stir convert Rust. Oh, I'm trying to write. I'm trying to write Go in Rust. Sorry, I wrote a lot of Go yesterday. Oh, that's so funny. So what do we do in Rust? We need parse. And then we do expect. Should be number. Why doesn't this work? Format argue must be a string literal. You might be missing a string literal format. Oh, okay. There we go. No method name parse found for type I32. So how do I parse it to a string? To string. I feel like the Rust analyzer feels very slow in this project. All right, here we go. We've got a picky eater on our hands. Mismatch type. Expected string slice because of return type. For more, okay. Okay, to do, read the test to understand the desired behavior, make all test case pass without changing them. All right, so if food equals strawberries, return yummy. Otherwise, return not yummy. Okay, I got rid of that error. And then we just need to, we basically need to make sure that basically any time they pass in a particular string that it returns a particular message. Okay, I can do that. How do we want to do this? I don't think we want a bunch of if statements. I mean, we could, but I don't think that's what we want. Heart, what are your views on ServiceNow? I think ServiceNow is fine. I've not used it myself. I've had a lot of people tell me about it, and it sounds like an interesting platform. The company that I work for would be considered sort of a competitor, I think, to ServiceNow. In some ways, I mean, they're a much larger company, but some of the stuff we do is in the same space. Not me going to work in the same kilt for the third time this week, so I don't have to change before they perform. Why are you willing? I didn't know you. Why are you wearing a kilt? I'm more thrown off by the by the kilt reference. And for what performance? All right, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna turn this into a match statement, and we're gonna match on food. And then how do I write a match statement for a string? Rust match statement. Okay. Yeah. So we'll just do strawberry. And then we'll say strawberry gives me yummy. And potato. Potato. I guess what? I guess I can eat that. And then what else? We need non-exhaustive patterns not covered. Okay, so let's do. No, I don't want to do that. Don't know how I feel. We need broccoli. We need gummy bear and literally anything. So gummy bear. And then literally anything is the What does assert equal do? It just makes sure that the two things are equal to each other. It's a macro. Let's see what the documentation says. Asserts that two expressions are equal to each other. I play bagpipes in a bagpipe band. We're doing an early private St. Patrick's Day celebration. That's awesome, Ryan. Dude, you're an interesting dude. You're an engineer. You write Lisp, and you play in a bagpipe band. I don't know if anyone's ever told you that, but you are an interesting fella. So it looks like these should all be no thank you. So how do I have multiple cases? So you can use the AND operator to match multiple values in a single arm. So we got to use the pipe operator. So we will say this or this. Whoops. Okay. Wildcard pattern covers any other pattern as it will match anyway. Consider handling this separately. Okay. I mean, I can handle it separately, but we want the same return value, so kind of seems like a weird thing to warn me about. Look at us, we're flying. We've done 14 exercises. Hellboy Jr., hey, kind of new here. What are you working on? I'm trying to learn Rust, Hellboy. This is like my third time attempting learning Rust, and right now we are using a set of exercises called Rustlings, which is basically just a group of exercises that have like broken Rust code, and you're supposed to read the compiler errors and then figure that's supposed to help drive your learning of the language through making changes to code and fixing the compiler errors and going and reading the Rust language book. So it's basically an interactive way to try to facilitate learning. Suhas, I have not petted my dog this morning yet. He is still sleeping. Ryan, I'm also a Shriner, which is where I found out about the bagpipe band. Oh, nice, yeah. I had a grandpa. I'm not saying like you're an old man, Ryan, but I had a grandpa who was a Shriner. Yeah. I never got involved in any of it, but I always thought it was cool. I'm a fart smeller too. I think you sound like a very cool guy, Ryan. I feel like you should have the YouTube channel, not me, Ryan. I feel like you could make some way more interesting content. What's a Shriner? It's an organization. I'm sure Ryan can actually explain it better. And Ryan, if I don't want to mis-explain, but the gist I got when I was growing up was it was kind of like not like a frat in this. I mean, Google says it's a fraternal organization. It's not like a frat in the sense of like what you would think of like a frat in college, but basically like a club that men belong to. Typically, they're involved in a lot of like philanthropy and nonprofit stuff. They do a lot of good in their communities. I'll let Ryan add color though, in case he wants to add some color. No, pet him ASAP after he wakes up. Oh yeah, for sure. I'll pet my dog. Yeah. I mean, I'm the one who takes care of the dog during the day because me and the dog are at home, and then my wife and my kids they go off to school. So I'm stuck with the dog all day. Cool, like a brotherhood of philanthropy. Yeah, I think so. That's kind of how I thought of it, aerobic, because like they used to always come to like they used to come to like fundraisers, and they used to always be in like the parades during that would happen in my hometown. And yeah, like there's typically like they typically have like a building where they have meetings and stuff. I know somehow it's related to Freemasonry. I'm not sure exactly how it's related, but somehow it's also related to that. There we go. Ryan just popped in the chat there. Ryan said, "We're a fraternal organization that owns the largest privately funded children's hospital network in America. Kids whose parents cannot pay for health care for their kids don't have to." I mean, can there be a better use for a fraternal organization than that? That's awesome. How AIs assert equal different to A equals X in Python? I assume it's more like def. I'm not very familiar with Rust. I'm not super familiar with Rust either, Cyber Tiger. I'm learning just like you. All I know of the Shriners frat for older dudes who wear fezzes and drive go-karts and raise money for charity. Yeah, they seem to do a lot of good in the world, so I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, Ryan is very cool. Yeah, Ryan should have a YouTube channel. Good morning, Big J's Faith. How's it going, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for being a member, dude. Appreciate that. And thanks for those gifted members earlier this week. That was very, very kind of you. Let's see. If and else have incompatible types. We already fixed an error like this already. Let's do picky eater strawberry. What? Oh, I keep forgetting this has to have a template. All right, then we'll go here to the next one. Fix the compiler error in the statement. So we're returning 1, 2, 3. Don't change the expression below. Fine, I won't change it. You can don't change the tests. So what do the tests say? Let's see, animal habitat, desert. Maybe I'll just do -1. Why is that unhappy? If else have incompatible types, expected floating point number, found integer. Oh, that's because of this. There we go. Man, the Rust analyzer just seems really slow. I feel like I'm pausing to wait for a long time. Let's see. Let's do print line. And let's do animal habitat. And we'll pass in crab.
Good to see you. Keep up the fun struggle.
Dude, that's so nice of you. That's way, way, way too nice of you, man. Really, really appreciate that. Also, love the text-to-speech. It's my favorite part of the stream. So thank you very much for setting it off. That's way too kind of you, man. I'm gonna got a reply here. I'm definitely gonna keep the struggle up. This is way too generous. Thanks, man. Gotta keep the struggle alive. They want me to give in and just rely on AI, and I'm not ready to. I'm not ready to give in yet. Pay a dime. We actually pay the parent's salary while their child is getting treatment, and we provide all transportation for free from anywhere in the world. Wow, that's amazing. I gotta tell you, that's one of my greatest fears is one of my kids getting really sick. So that's amazing that there's an organization in the world that helps take care of parents and their kiddos in those situations. How can India, which is very less powerful than the United States with a lot of more people, how can it afford free healthcare? I don't know how I don't know why the United States healthcare system is the way it is. I think a lot of our healthcare issues stem from the fact that we have a third party payer. And so the people that receive the services from the businesses in the healthcare industry a lot of times aren't the actual payers of said services, right? So I think there's a lot of bureaucracy that gets involved. And then I think now, in terms of like making it better or making it different, I think there's too many people's financial livelihoods that are at stake. But yeah, it's a real problem. I mean, the vast majority of people who go bankrupt in America, it's the result of medical bills, which is pretty sad. It is an appendant body to Freemasonry, meaning you have to be a Mason to become a Shriner. Oh, nice. Okay, interesting. I had no idea. My grandfather was a Shriner. Yeah, that's what Big J's faith. That's what I was telling Ryan earlier. That's how I knew about the Shriners was because my grandpa was a Shriner. My grandmother was Ladroit Humane. I don't know what that is. Ladroit. I've never heard of that before. Big J's faith. Why did you start speaking French? Let's see, Cybertech. How long have you been streaming for? Did you call friends to chat when you just started? Did you call friends to chat? No. I started streaming December 2024 while doing Advent of Code. I started streaming on Twitch and then eventually moved over to streaming on YouTube and then tried streaming on YouTube and TikTok and then just came back to streaming on YouTube for most of 2025. And then at the beginning of 2026, I started streaming to YouTube and Twitch. I didn't call friends to chat. I literally, for the first like 2 or 3 months, it was just me sitting on stream talking to myself with nobody. Was with 0 viewers, and I just kept showing up and eventually people, I guess, got curious about what I was doing, and then I developed some regulars, and here we are. Hello, Hal. Too much hype with AI, keeping it real. Yeah, there's a lot of AI hype. Let's see. Also, why did you start streaming in the first place? Really just for the fun of it, Cyber Tiger. I mean, I started doing Advent of Code. I started streaming Advent of Code because I thought it would be a good way to force myself to create time to do Advent of Code every day in 2024. So I would just sit down, turn on the camera, and go. And then I started streaming more consistently in 2025 just for the fun of it. And that's why I make most of the content on my YouTube channel, is just because I find it fun. I find it enjoyable. I feel like the more I make things versus consume them, the better I feel about life. What is your streaming software? So I recently switched. I was using OBS for a real long time. And then when chat wanted me to multi-stream, I had to figure out something different because the plugins that I tried for OBS were just, they weren't it, man. There are plugins that do it. I think there's one called Adium that's pretty popular, but I just didn't like it. So I found another tool called Meld Studio, and Meld Studio is a little bit simpler than OBS. It's not as full featured as OBS, but it makes multi-streaming very, very easy. So you can get Meld set up to stream to multiple platforms, or you can get it set up to stream to the same platform in multiple different ways. It's very nice to use. Meld Studio. MELD is how it's spelled. Ryan, funny thing is, I'm not even the youngest Shriner at my shrine. I'm 32, and there's several guys in their 20s that have joined. I think that's awesome. Like, I think that's awesome. That you're involved in that organization. Imagine I would feel really lonely if no one watched me. I mean, you just kind of get used to it. I mean, it's just like you're sitting on a Teams call at work waiting for people to show up. So you turn the camera on and you just do what you would normally do if the camera wasn't there. Bob, that's what I was thinking. Imagine if the U.S. took care of its people instead of dumping so much money into other crap. I have a very strong opinion on this, and it's changed a lot. If you had asked me when I was 22 if I thought people should have universal health care, I would have said no. At 32, I am all for it, and I don't care if it means more taxes. I also don't care if that means the quality of the healthcare is a little less than what it is in privatized healthcare. And the reason for that is I hate the fact that I walk around every day praying that me, my wife, or either of my two sons don't get diagnosed with cancer. Because if one of us was to get diagnosed, in the best scenario, we probably end up broke, right? Whoever gets diagnosed, we survive the treatments and we survive the cancer, we go into remission, but then we're broke from the medical costs. Or worst case scenario, the person that gets diagnosed dies and we're still broke. So so uh I hate that reality for so many Americans, and I realize there are actual Americans in the US right now who are living that exact nightmare, and it seems unacceptable to me in 2026 in the United States that is a thing for people. It seems awful. What repo would you recommend to learn Rust? I've had good luck with the Rust programming language book, and this seems pretty fun. That the thing that I'm doing right now, it's called Rustlings. If you just Google Rustlings, it'll come up. Hellboy Jr., any suggestions? Want to start streaming to want to document my SDET journey? My only suggestion to you, Hellboy, is to start. Like, just start. If you want to do it, start. Because here's the thing with content creation: a lot of the stuff you make, no one's ever going to watch or pay attention to. So you just have to start. And the first few times it's going to be bad. You're going to have to be figuring things out. You're going to have technical difficulties. Things aren't going to work. Like, that's just how it is. So the longer you put off starting, you're not gaining anything by doing it. So I would just, if you want to stream, turn on the camera today, do what you would normally do if the camera wasn't there, and keep doing that. Be consistent. Do you ever want to sleep, but the feeling to go to sleep is so relaxing, you just not sleep for a while? No, usually usually whenever I stop focusing on things, I just kind of go to sleep naturally. My brain needs to kind of be engaged, otherwise I get kind of bored. I think this approach to things is really good for mental health. I am Gen Z myself, and it's much more difficult not to consume content. I just have tried to make it a focus to try to create more than I consume. And whenever I create content, I feel better about life. I feel more motivated. I feel more creative. It kind of is a feedback loop where the more things I create, the more things I want to create, right? If I want to make more YouTube videos, that means I want to write more code. When I write more code, I want to make more YouTube videos. It's kind of like a flywheel, and I just feel better about life. My American friends say our enemies will know why we don't have universal health care. Oh, really? Huh. My question is, why do you put so much money into your military? I think we just want to be able to defend ourselves. I guess, I mean, I think that's one thing the U.S. population generally agrees on, is that our government should raise and maintain a military. Hey, Steven, how are you doing? I'm doing well, man. I have no complaints. I'm out of coffee, so I need to make some coffee. But, money in the bank account, kids and wife are healthy, got food in the pantry, hot running water. Life's good, man. Bob Knoll, same. I still consider myself a libertarian, but I've seen so many friends and family not get necessary treatment because they can't afford it, and been to other countries where they don't have that problem. Exactly, exactly. It's one of those, Bob. It's frustrating because it's one of those solved problems, right? It's kind of like in programming speak, right? It's a solved problem, and yet we don't want to solve it. And the reason we don't want to solve it is because there are people who are making their nut from the problem remaining a problem. You know, it's also a great political um, talking point, right? It animates a lot of political parties to talk about the problem. I just think people are incentivized not to deal with it. Hellboy, it's mostly for me to get into the habit of upskilling. Seem to be stuck. Yeah, man. Then use it as a way to commit to a schedule and stick to a schedule, right? I think that sounds like a great idea. Are you streaming constantly? Like how many hours per day? I stream once a day usually. Sometimes I'll stream in the evening, but usually it's once a day from 4:15 to 7 a.m. So I just get up early. I stream till about 7 o'clock, which is when my kids usually get up. And then I'll hop off stream, see my kids and my wife before they head out the door for school, and then take a shower, get ready for work and whatnot. To be honest, I even got on Twitch because I wanted to start creating content myself, just as some creative outlet and some extra motivation to do something. Yeah, heck yeah, go for it, man. I I think the more the merrier. I had a phone call from a company earlier in the week saying they're interested in inviting me to code something for them. Any advice? It's for a junior backend position. Um, let's see. My only advice would be do a good job. Assuming you want to work for them, do a good job. Do you stream every day? Yeah. Yeah, I stream every day. And it's very easy to stream every day when you stream at 4 o'clock in the morning because what else is there to do? Like, it's not like my job or my family are competing with my attention at that time in the morning. So it's very easy to be very consistent with it every day because I'm basically up and nobody else is up. So might as well come down to the computer in the basement and hang out and try to learn something new and talk to some folks, nerd out about some programming stuff. I asked this because it's the first time a company asked me to come in and code something rather than the typical technical questions interview. Oh yeah, so I would just I mean, I wouldn't try to be anything you're not, you know. I would just try to show up and answer the questions to the best of your ability and be honest. And I'm sure what they want to see is they want to see what it would be like to work with you, right? They want to explore how do you solve a problem and how do you interact with their team when you're solving a problem. They kind of want a window into what it would be like to work with you. So just as you're interacting with them, that's probably the lens you should be entering the conversation with, is like you want to make sure you demonstrate that like you're a nice person, you're a good communicator, you're easy to work with, right? um, yeah, I wouldn't look at it as a test, right? I would look at it as like you're meeting up with some people to talk about code and talk about a problem and build something, and try to do your best to demonstrate what it's like to work with you. Suas, I get it, but America spends like 1/3 of the world's money on military budget. Yeah, we spend a lot of money on the military. There, we do. I'm not going to argue with you there. If you just want to spend more than Russia and China combined, I get it. Like this, those are enemies, but 1/3 of the world's military budget. Yeah, I'm not going to say how much is the right amount. I just know it's a lot. I want to create content, YouTube videos telling people to learn and teach themselves, but I'm too sleepy. Maybe eventually you'll find the energy, man. Who knows? Jake, would you say a response of "I'm not sure, so I would check the docs" is better than "I don't know" or trying the answer? You can say all three of those things, right? You can say Well, I'm not really sure off the top of my head. I think in most cases at this point, I would probably open Google, or I would ask. I think AI is probably an acceptable answer. You could say, "Oh, I would pair program or brainstorm with insert your favorite AI chatbot," and then you can say, "But if I can't do any of those things, let me try to think through how I would actually approach this, not knowing the answer off the top of my head or not knowing the syntax off the top of my head." Right? I think intellectual honesty is a positive. And I think if you work with folks who think it's not a positive, they're they're probably not the folks you want to work with, right? Cuz I don't know about you guys, but like I don't think most engineers just sit at their desk and type stream lines of code straight from their brain into their keyboard into their computer. Most of it involves looking things up, searching, talking to ChatGPT nowadays, right? It's not just most programmers and engineers are not just these walking encyclopedias. Maybe there's some of them out there, but I don't think most of them are. You should. I sleep cold. I think everyone should sleep cold. I think it's actually like proven through research, or there is at least some data to back up that your body temperature actually needs to decrease a certain amount for you to get good sleep. I often get anxious to the point I freeze when I see how much stuff I need to learn. Have you experienced that? Do you have any advice in this case? I totally understand that. I totally understand the feeling of overwhelm because there is a lot to learn and it increases every day. Every day there's more stuff to learn. Every day there's more things to learn. I think how you manage the overwhelm there is you just have to kind of put your blinders on and you just kind of have to say to yourself, look, life is long. Life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. I'm going to focus on the thing that I'm going to focus on at this moment in time. And then when I'm ready to switch my focus, I'll switch my focus. But you can't be constantly distracted with like how many things you need to add to your list, and you need to kind of be able to pare it down and just. I think that's why I always point everyone at free code camp, because if someone shows up today and says, "Well, I want to learn how to be a programmer," it's horribly overwhelming, right? There's just so many things. So that's why a curriculum like free code camp is so helpful, is because they lay it out for you and give you the opportunity to put your blinders on and just go heads down on what they're trying to teach you. MFA cap. I think it depends. Sometimes you research and do a POC, but then sometimes you just need to hammer the code. Yes, I understand what you're saying, MFA cap, but what I'm saying is I just don't think that there are engineers who sit down at a computer and never use resources other than their brain to figure out what they need to do, right? Like engineering and solving problems with code involves looking stuff up quite a bit. So I don't think anyone should ever feel like they are coming up short if they have to use some sort of resource. As in Vagabond, vulnerability is the greatest strength. I noticed this when I was on the call and the interview. Appreciated the fact I don't know rather than claim I know and be irresponsible. 100%. You should always be saying I don't know should not be a shortcoming. Anybody who thinks saying I don't know is a shortcoming, they're probably not somebody I fuck with. It's okay to not know stuff. Sleeping cold is amazing. Best sleep I ever got. I turn the AC down to 60 degrees every night. We keep our house very cold too. Not that cold, but we do keep our house pretty cold, and particularly at night. In my opinion, you learn to code the same way you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. 100%, Ryan. I fuck with that. Yeah. I always say small steps climb mountains. That's my go-to saying. But it's the same exact idea. Is like how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time? Like you just start. You start. It reminds me of there's a scene in that movie The Martian where at the very end of the movie where he talks about how he's saying basically when shit hits the fan, you can either panic or you can focus and you can get to work, and the work is basically you solve one problem and then you solve another problem, and if you solve enough problems you get to come home. And I think the same thing applies to life in a lot of ways, is like you just have to start. and you take one step, and you take another step, and eventually you get to where you want to go. But it doesn't happen overnight. Jacob, I really appreciate your advice, Stephen. I'm going back to basics, ensuring I go through all the use cases while also expanding my backend knowledge. Because I really want this one. Oh, you'll kill it, man. It sounds like you're on the right path. It sounds like you don't. It does not sound like you need any advice from me. And I hope you do get the role. MFA cap only 1,000 X devs. Yeah, those are those devs that use Claude Code nowadays. Some other problems with American Indian people. I watch this news channel because it is fun, not because it's accurate. Oh yeah. Well, there's a lot of identity politics here in the U.S. Cyber Tiger, thank you for your advice. Of course. Yeah, I don't know how good my advice is a lot of times, but it definitely is mine. The point of news is to get the updated information so that you can make rigidly better decisions in your life. 100%. Yeah. The news should be an informative activity. It can also be entertainment value, right? I think it depends on what your goal is. Some people just want to be confirmed in their thinking. If you think about it, how did that phrase come to life? Shit hit the fan. I don't even want to know that story. Hey, look, any advice from someone who actually works as a dev compared to junior is invaluable to us juniors. Oh, well, I appreciate that. I don't know if I would consider myself a dev, but I mean, I do get paid to write code. All right, on to the next one. Oh, actually, hold on. We should make some coffee. I'm gonna go. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna set up the coffee cam real quick. Let's see. I'm gonna put this to chatting. I don't know if Danny's still here, but Danny was the one that wanted the droid cam back, so we brought the droid cam back. Give me one sec. Echo, turn on the bass and the lights. All right, 3, 2, 1. To the coffee station. Let's see. We want this to be muted and this to be unmuted. Oh, I probably should get my... Yeah, the link to the Spotify playlist, if you type !music or !lo-fi in the chat, it'll link you to the website. I use a website called Lo-Fi Generator. It's just free. It's algorithmically generated free lo-fi music. I didn't build it. A guy named Dylan Turner built the website.
Steven, I love your dog. Yeah, my dog is. I love my dog too, but he's an old man now, and he's very stubborn, very grumpy. He only wants to do what he wants to do. Alright, loud noises. Watch your ears. Good morning, Komodo Swag Dragon. Good to see you, sir. I think you muted to music instead of the mic. Oh, one sec. You were 100% right, Bob. That was exactly what I did. It's hard to read the chat with. I did not fall for your prank, Suhas. You did not get me. Alright, now we just wait for the water to boil. That's a fast kettle. It is pretty fast. I mean, it heats up. I don't put a ton of water in it, so it goes pretty quick. Hey, what's up, Wilo Gamer Pro? Good to see you, man. New POV. Yeah, we brought back the coffee cam. Although the coffee cam is now on the other side of the island. I might move it back to the other side because this light is really harsh. It's really, really bright. Oh, whoops, I just... All right. Here we go. In Europe, the outlets are 220 volts, so electric kettles are super fast. I wish I had a nicer electric kettle. I wish I had a kettle that had like the temperature control where you can like set it and it will hold it at exactly that temperature. That's what I wish I had. Maybe one of these days. Maybe if I keep up the coffee camera, eventually I'll get coffee companies who'll be willing to send me coffee hardware. I've had multiple people reach out to me about like brand partnership things, and I've turned them all down because they've all just kind of not been I don't know. They haven't. They've all just not felt like authentic or genuine. So I've told them all no. Yeah, we need some coffee sponsors. Is what we need. 100%. If Steven says it's a good coffee, I'll probably buy it. This coffee is actually all the Advent of Code coffee that we bought. I'm still this big box of coffee. I'm still working my way through it. I probably have eight more days worth of coffee in there. It was basically enough single origin coffee for 2 pour-overs every day for 24 days. So there was a lot of coffee in there. You should talk to Primogen. Dude, the Primogen would be like, who the fuck is this dude? I bought an instant hot water faucet for my sink a year ago, but I'd have to risk drilling my granite I haven't installed it yet. Yeah, that would be I would imagine having to replace your granite countertop because you were trying to put a faucet in would be painful. Suas, can you answer my previous question? I want you to know your opinion on it. Do you often more thought and effort into stuff you disagree with? Because I'm less interested to know I'm right, more interested in stuff that will prove me wrong because I can change. I think I'm just interested in being better. So if yeah, I'm totally fine with being challenged. Coffee's done. I don't think we're going to get to ownership in Rustlings today, but I do like the Rustlings. I do like the Rustlings activities, but I don't think we're going to get to ownership. Do any of you guys watch Casey Moratori's content? Do any of you follow Casey Moratori? Oh snap! It would be weird, but I would install it at somebody like if you have friends over or family over and they're like, "Why are you going to the bathroom with your coffee cup?" I got to get the hot water, guys. The auto lo-fi, is it a website? Yeah, if you type !lo-fi, one of my bots will send you the link. It's called it's just lofigenerator.com is the name of the site. And whenever I talk about it, I always make sure to call out the fact that it was built by a guy named Dylan Turner. And I don't know him, but I really appreciate if anybody does know him. All right, coffee's done. To the office. Guys, we don't need to do this every day. Come on. Back to the office. Let's go.
Are you guys still screwing around out there? Will you stop? Get back in here. I love the transitions. Yes, welcome the transitions back. We brought coffee time back. Oh, let me put chatting up for a sec. I think my mic's hot. Test, test. There we go. That's better. Casey is the best C++ teacher. Yeah, I've heard lots of people say really good things about his content. I mostly have found out about him through watching the Primogen. But he seems like a very knowledgeable dude. The ordering the coffee through the terminal promise you came up south is pretty cool. It is very cool. What is it? Terminal.shop? Terminal coffee. I think it's very cool. OOP on Python is poop. Yes, everybody loves poop. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm glad there's people in chat who co-sign for Casey's stuff. I think I need to go back and watch all his Handmade Hero stuff. I've heard that series of videos is a lot of fun. Coffee makes Steven go burr. Coffee make life go burr. Alright, where are we going next here? Now we're into primitive types. Oops. Primitive types. Wait, no, we're not. Oh, no, we're in quizzes. Quiz. Where are the quizzes at? Quiz 1. This is a quiz for the following sections: variables, functions, and ifs. Mary is buying apples. The price of an apple is calculated as follows. An apple costs 2 rust bucks. However, if Mary buys more than 40 apples, the price of each apple in the entire order is reduced to only 1 rust buck. Write a function that calculates the price of an order of apples given the quantity bought. Calculate price of apples. Okay. Don't change the test. Write the function that calculates the price. Okay, so this is what we're trying to implement. And we should take quantity, which we'll just type as an int 32. And this will return a price. I guess we can also do an int32, although probably a floating point number would be more accurate for a price. And then let's just do for now, let's do return, or let's just do 0 for now. Okay, so now it looks like everything's compiling. This is unused, so we have to put an underscore in front of it. Okay. So the tests are failing. It compiles, but the tests fail. So now we need to implement our logic. Handmade Hero is like thousands of hours of content. I started following it when it first came out, then dropped off after a few episodes. Yeah, I think I need to go back and invest some time into watching it. People say that it's very good. That it's very eye-opening. Is a treasure trove though. Yeah, so I'd like to go. My wife got really into Critical Role, and went back and like watched all their episodes when she first found it. She found it like in season 2, I think, or season 3 maybe. And so I guess I just need to have her level of dedication and going back and just watching all of Handmade Hero. 1,000 hours is a lot of content, but I think it'd be good. Lincoln, let's see, Kirk. Yeah, he says C++ is crap and it should be written like C with classes. Interesting. I've never written any C or C++ though, so I don't have good frames of reference. Hey, what's up, Beatbox TJ? How are you, man? It has been a long time. Appreciate you stopping by the stream. Would something like that be profitable? 40 apples for just 1 rust buck? I know, right? That does not seem like good business. You need the dedication of a One Piece fan. Yeah. How am I doing? I'm doing well, man. Yeah, life's good. Yeah, life's good. I'm healthy. My kids are healthy. My wife's healthy. The rest is kind of icing on the cake, you know? So yeah, life's good. I don't have anything to complain about. The only thing I will complain about, though, willingly, is that I'm really sick and tired of AI. I know people are going to say that that's because I'm coping, but I'm just so sick and tired of that conversation. Okay, so we'll say if quantity is more than 40, then the entire order is reduced to a price of 1. So I kind of like writing code like this, personally. Otherwise, we do return quantity times 2. I like writing code like this, but this is not very Rust, I guess, apparently. I guess the right way to write this would be in a single expression. I guess this would be the right way to do it if I was doing it Rust way, where we have like an implicit return. Like this. And then we remove the semicolon, remove that line, format everything. And I think that'll pass. Nope. See, panicked at exercise, left equals right, failed. Left is 1, right is 41. However, if Mary buys... So if I pass in 41... Is that right? Hold on. So if the price of each... Oh, sorry. The price of each apple in the order. Whoops. Yeah, that was confusing to me. So then it would just be return the quantity. There we go. Is there a different way I could write this? I guess you could do something like... You could actually do like let apple price, and then you could say either return 1 or return 2, and then you could say you could do, then the value is always quantity times apple price, and probably should spell apple correctly. I guess it just depends on... I feel like that's more expressive. Yeah, I feel like this is more... This is... Okay. And then let's just add a little bit of an experimentation here. I'll do print line equals calculate price of apples. Pass in 35. And then we'll do here. All right, we passed our first quiz. Let's go. Now we're into primitive types. It makes you look rusty. I am indeed rusty. I am rusty at Rust. But Steven, AI is going to change the world. It's going to change everything. It's going to be revolutionary. Also, morning, Uncle Pee-wee. How are you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for holding it down on Twitch. We're slowly getting some followers on Twitch. I think we're up to 115 followers on Twitch. So we're slowly climbing over there. How are you how are you learning Rust with tests? With some website or book? So Wilo Gamer Pro, this is called Rustlings. If you Google it, I put the link in the description of my stream, but if you Google Rustlings, basically the first link that shows up is the one you want, and it's basically like an interactive way to learn the Rust programming language in the terminal, essentially. So basically, they have exercises that you have to essentially make pass. So you make it compile, and then you make it correct. Yeah, but how many GitHub followers you got? I don't know. Maybe less than 100, I'm guessing at this point. 10K celebration, please. I don't even know what to do to celebrate numbers going up. You know? I just say thanks to everybody for subscribing. Let's see, Uncle Pew, do you have a home lab? I'm trying to stay interactive over here since we got YouTube audience already. Yeah, well, I appreciate you staying interactive. That's very, very kind of you. I guess I do sort of have a home lab. So I have 2 servers here in my house that I play around with. I don't have anything super serious. I have a family member who's in IT, and he has a pretty serious home lab. He has like a rack mounted server and all cool switches, all kinds of crazy cool networking setup and stuff. He's got a pretty sick home lab. I just have enough home lab to like experiment with applications and deploying stuff and hosting things. Wow, again, nice, thanks. Yeah, of course, it seems like a really good resource. Chat was the one that recommended it to me, so that's why we're using it. Steven calls out of work at 100K, and that's all you need for a home lab. Oh yeah, so my home lab, I guess is sufficient enough. At 100K, if I got to 100,000 subs, I would definitely take a day off work for 100,000 subs. That's pretty nuts to think about. 10K celebration. Code a random number generator that takes input from a live camera and generates the number from that. That's kind of cool. Yeah, that'd be a cool project. I found this library called ml.net that I really want to explore. That's probably the next thing I'm going to do on stream. Do you host your own like music server or movie server? I don't do anything like that. No, I don't host a Plex server. Most of the stuff that I host is just either applications that I built or applications that I like to use. Like I have an instance of Seek. I have an instance of Portainer, a couple instances of Portainer. I recently set up an instance of Git-T so that I could experiment with moving some of my stuff off GitHub, or at least mirroring stuff from Git-T to GitHub so that I still sort of have the ultimate control of my my repositories, but they're still available on GitHub. Let's see. I have a NAS set up that I'm running TrueNAS on, which has been that was pretty fun to build and set up and get working. What else? I have some like small application tools that I use for.
Did we just become best friends?
Thank you very much for the follow, man. That's very kind of you. You can save a lot of money like that. Yeah, I've never really explored the whole Plex server thing. The thing with the Plex server that strikes me as odd is like, even though you can run the server, you still have to put media on the server, and so then where do you get the media? Right? Like you guess you got to buy all the music, you got to buy all the videos and stuff, or are people just doing illegal things? Pirate. Yeah, see, I don't want to pirate. Like I'm not going to do that. I've already had my run-in with the federal government. I don't need to have another run-in with the federal government. The library. I use our library. Our library here in the tax evasion. Yeah, I know. I don't fuck around with the federal government. Not tax evasion. My interaction with the federal government was over flying a drone in in a national park. Yeah, I think I've shown this on stream before. Discography dump from Pirate Bay. Yeah, I don't I don't play around with the law, you know. Oh, FFA. Yeah, it was actually the National Park Service was the person who wrote me the ticket. Them and the Philadelphia Police Department. Let me see. I can pull up the ticket I got. It literally says the United States of America versus Stephen Freeborn. It's pretty crazy. Hold on, let me let me let me pull it up for you. It's a long story. It's a very long story, but no, that's the drone document. Drone. I think it was like drone. What did I put it under? Drone information, maybe? No. Citation. Citation? Oh man, I could have sworn I had the piece of paper that says that. So this was the citation that they wrote me. This was in Independence Hall in Philadelphia. Drone operation closure. He even spelled my name wrong. He spelled it Steven. He didn't even spell my name right. But I have the summons. I have like a summons to court. I heard too many things about drones in national park. Oh, dude, I didn't even know it was a national. That's the crazy thing. I didn't know it was a national park. And literally, like, we were there in October, and in September, they had declared that national parks were like a no-fly zone, and I didn't know that. It was a very terrifying experience. I had to go back to Philadelphia. I had to hire a lawyer. I had to go to federal court. It was a very it was a very very scary experience. And it all boiled down. I think I ended up paying like a $75 fine is what I ended up paying. But it was quite an endeavor. I can't find that piece of paper, man. Damn it. Drone ticket. It just was really funny because I never would have thought I would see a piece of paper with my name on it like that. I'll try to do some digging. I know it's around here somewhere. Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is my notice. Here we go. I found it. This is my notice to appear. Look. They spelled my name wrong on this thing too. Yeah. Hey, thanks for hey, L-Boy, thanks for finding my emoji. That's my favorite emoji on Twitch. Why, brother? Because I flew a drone in a national park. That's why. Free, and they also spelled it free. I didn't ever notice that. They got the name completely wrong. They spelled it Stephen Freeburn. They got it completely wrong. I never noticed that before until this morning when you pointed it out. Can you get dismissed for that? Who is Stephen Freeburn? I know, right? Like, who are you guys talking about? That's not me. Okay, so the way that all ended, though, I'll just make a long story short. The way that all ended was literally we went to the courthouse. My lawyer went up to the prosecutor, and of course, this is like kind of a scary experience because we're in a courtroom and there's literally like people in orange jumpsuits with handcuffs on their hands and their feet. And I go into this courtroom and my lawyer goes right to the front of the room, t- talks to the prosecutor. He shows the prosecutor some of the documentation I had and basically explains. The prosecutor looks at him and then kind of looks back at me and then looks at him, does that like 2 or 3 times. And then my lawyer comes back to where I'm sitting in the courtroom and is like, hey, they're going to call your case first. You're going to pay a $75 fine. And that's the end of it. And I was like, are you serious? And he's like, yeah. He's like, the prosecutor doesn't even know why you're here. They don't understand why you're here in this courtroom today. And I was like, wonderful. I'm so glad I flew back from Joplin, Missouri to Philadelphia for this for this waste of time, essentially, was what it was. I spent more money on the plane ticket and the hotel ride, or the hotel stay. Yeah, it was really silly. Makes sense. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, it makes it. It's the U.S. government. It makes sense. CPT Lucho, what's up, man? Good morning. Yes, how are you? Good to see you, man. Welcome in. You're kind of entering towards the end of the stream, but we're still glad to have you. Okay, we cannot find value is evening in the scope. Help, a local variable with a similar name exists is morning. Define a Boolean variable with the name is evening before the if statement below. The value of the variable should be negative or opposite of is morning. Okay, I know what that's asking me to do. So we just do this. We say let is evening is the opposite of is morning. Okay. Oh, Rustlings. Yeah, we're doing Rustlings, Energy Star. What's the progress on the text editor in the last 2 days? Not a ton. Basically, we added the ability to keep track of the state in memory. We added the ability to create a new file. We added a keybind for that action. Yeah, we haven't done a terrible amount in the last 2 days. I don't even actually. Does it still run? I can't remember where we left this. It might be broken. I decided to take Friday and just apply it to doing some rustlings instead of working on the app. But this is where we're at with the app. So it opens up a brand new file by default. We can create another new file here. We can switch back and forth between the tabs without losing the state. So we can go back and forth and we don't lose the state. We can still write these out to disk if we want. Good morning. .txt. We can save that. That will update the tab. And then we can switch over to this one. We still have that state there. So we can do all that. We can do all the basics. So that's the progress of the app currently. There's definitely some touch up we need to do. We need to add styling to make this look better. We probably want to do some other status bar stuff. We have some issues with the ordering of tabs. So the tabs are being rendered by looping over a map currently. So whenever you add a new tab, it just shows up in random places instead of always showing up at the end of the list of tabs. So we have to refactor that a little bit. We're making progress. I mean, we're learning Rust. I mean, we're accomplishing what I set out to do, is that we're figuring out the Rust language, and we're going to have an application at the end of the day that we can actually point to and say, like, I built that with Rust. So I think it's going well. I ain't remember which part is evening at. Oh, we're on exercise 17, which is primitive types, and we're at primitive type exercise 1, and we're moving on to primitive type exercise 2 now. I think this will be my last one, and then I've got to go to work for the day, unfortunately. But it is Friday. We did make it a Friday, so it's pretty much the weekend. How does programming will change in the future regarding this? Sorry, Stefan, or not Stefan. Sorry, Suhas. I missed your question. Stephen, when you have so much access to information, is it worth learning every single part of it? I often forget how to load files, file IO in Python, but I always just do a quick Google and find it. Well, yeah, I think information is so abundantly available. You don't need to keep it all in your head at the same time. I think I'm a big proponent in like spending some dedicated time understanding the fundamentals, and then after that, you should probably just kind of practice just-in-time learning, which is you just get the information you need to solve the problem that's in front of you. I mean, to your point, it's so easy to look things up, and it's so easy. You can now with AI, you can basically have AI kind of generate like on the fly custom tutorials and explanations about things that, yeah, I would agree. You don't need to try to cram the universe of knowledge into your head for sure. See, Ryan, have a good day, man. Maddie Nabbits, just wanted to quickly jump in and wish you a nice WE. Well, that is very nice of you, Maddie. Hope you're doing well. You got to do one more. This one is too easy. Okay, we'll do 2 more. How about that? We'll do 2 more, and then we'll break for work. Hold on, let me read the error. Cannot find value your character in this scope. If your character is alphabetical, cannot find value. Okay, so this is basically let's see. To do analogous to the example above, declare below with your favorite character. Try letter, try digit from a different language than your own. Try something. Try an emoji. Okay, we can do an emoji. Let's do fire. Like that. So this is just illustrating character. These are very nice methods, though. C# has methods like these: is alphabetical, is numeric, is, I think in C# it's like is digit or something like that. Those are very nice methods. All right, last one. Cannot find value A in this scope. If A.length is greater than or equal to 100, do something. Not found in scope. So why is it not found in scope, and how can we fix that? Create an array called A with at least 100 elements in it. At least. Okay, so that means we have a couple ways to do this, but I think if I remember right, we can do something like this where we can say, give me 1 200 times, I think is the syntax. If I remember correctly. Yes, that's how you do it. So the first number is what's going to fill the array, and then the next number is the number of things you want to actually, the number of those elements you want to put into the array. Stephen Jailborn, I enjoy watching from myself. I still can't believe somebody took the time to create like a little burner account to troll me. That's that's wild, man. All right, well, we made some progress. We're slowly becoming a Rust dev. Let's see, I'm gonna do git status do GH repo. Oh, hold on. I'm going to push this up to my GitHub just so I have evidence that I actually did it. GH repo create this. My completion of the Rustlings of Rustlings. All right, look at us making things happen. I thought I was being censored. I think there's a problem with your bot. I don't think my bot did anything. My bot, only thing my bots do is post back messages in the chat. Uncle Pee-wee, that's gold. I know. Uncle Jailborn. Stephen Jailborn. All right, guys. I'm going to head out to work. CP2 Lucho, you too, man. Have a great one. Okay, if you're new here and you want to come back and hang out in the future, I'm usually live from 4:15 to 7 a.m. each morning. I'm pretty regular, so my schedule's also on Twitch if you want to take a look at my Twitch schedule. If you want to hang out outside of chat, basically outside of chat, outside of the live streams, the best place to find me is on Discord. And I'll spam that link into the chat. It's just discord.stephenfreeborn.com. That's the best place to find us when I'm not live. You're more than welcome to join. No pressure. Let's see. I wish the Rust book would actually talk about the second way of destructuring tuples as well. Well, you should open a PR. See you, Stephen Jailborn. Bye, Duckboy. Got to rewatch this one? Do it, man. Come back. Rewatch anytime you want. Let's see. Who else was in chat? I think that's everybody. I don't think I missed anybody. Discord. Peace, Uncle Pee-wee. See you, Uncle Pee-wee. Bye, Duck Boy. Bye, Suhas. Bob Noel, if you're still here, see you, man. Bye, Energy Star. Bye, Maddie. Bye, Ryan. I think Ryan already left. All right. Yeah, I hope you guys have a great day. Appreciate you hanging out with me. I'll see y'all. See you, Anime World. Bye, chat. Bye. See you guys.